So in this video, we will have a closer look at this sports band for the Garmin series. This is the 26mm, what they call knitted sports band on AliExpress, which costs right now just around $5 US. You can get it in this gray one here, but you can also get it in a black version. And that is quite a bit less expensive than the original one here from Garmin. Actually, you can buy close to 10 of these, if not more actually, compared to what the original sports band or ultra fit band, what they call it from Garmin here. So let's just have a look at how it actually held up after 1 month of constant usage. So it's been on my wrist 24/7 throughout those months. So with me on when I go to shower, when I go to bed, when of course I go out and do my activities. Primarily or only really at the moment I am running. That's the main activity I do at least. I also go for the occasional one-day hike and of course go for occasional walks. But running is what I mainly track with my Tactics Delta. You can also get this in 22mm, of course, for the smaller Phoenix variants and other smartwatches that of course uses that kind of sizing. But this is, like I said, the 26mm. So first off, let's just do a quick smell test. And yeah, I definitely smell some sweat on this watch band here. I have not washed it or anything like that, other than when it's gone with me to the shower. That's the only really time I've washed this watch band. So yeah, it does get a little bit smell of sweating, of course, which is pretty common with this watch band, but definitely not bad at all, and much better than a lot of other watch bands. One of the main differences between this and the original Garmin Ultra Fit band is, of course, you do not have these plastic inserts here in the bottom of the band, or at the end of the band rather, because this is just one continuous loop that you loop around your watch band. So you do just have these ends here just flapping around. I've not had any issues with that, but you can see they are kind of sticking out just a little bit. In day-to-day use case, I've not had any issues. Like I said, I've not had them like get stuck in things or clothing I have been taking on and off and accidentally opening them. They have not get in the way at all in my daily use case, so has not been an issue for me at all. But of course, if that's something you are concerned about, you should just go and get the original one. But you can get like 10 of these and more for the same price, so you can just switch them out whenever they get a little bit tired here, or maybe they get a little bit worn. But let's just remove this band here, and then of course have a closer look. You can of course see my wrist here. Does of course leave some markings because I keep it relatively tight to my wrist, because I want to have accurate pulse reading. This is the only kind of pulse reading I use. I don't use a belt or wrist strap or any breast strap when I got on running. I just use this rib-based heart rate sensor, and actually it has been spot on with my kind of activities. Like I said, mainly just running and hiking. I haven't had no issues at all, but you can also see kind of the indent there from the little pulse reader here on the back of the watch. And of course, removing it, you just need to squeeze it out between the watch and the watch split here. It does feel like you have to use a little more force on this one here compared to the original one from Garmin. Let's just have a look at that one. You can see the Velcro tabs there is just sticking out ever so slightly more on the non-genuine one here. But it's not been an issue. I have been able to put this on and or take it off, as you can see here, without the big issue. But definitely the original one is a little bit slimmer profile here, so it's a little easier to get in and or out of the watch. So this is after 1 month of constant usage. Let's get a little closer here and just go through the band. Kind of hard to tell, but there is a little bit sweat and stuff accumulating here. But of course, this is the gray one, so it is not as noticeable as on the original one or at the black one, if you of course wear the black one. So that's one of the benefits of this gray one. Don't really see those sweat, which has a tendency to get a little white when they actually dry in. But we'll just compare it to the Ultra Fit afterwards. But other than that, it has been reliable. I've not had any accidental openings or anything like that. The Velcro have been spot on. When I tie the watch band down, it doesn't move around, or I do not have to retighten it after a few days or anything like that. Even though I have had it on my wrist quite tight, I've had no issues with the Velcro actually slipping. So definitely have been very good watch band, and I highly recommend it. It has been very comfortable. Also, considering I have to, of course, attach it to my wrist quite hard or quite tightly. But there is some, as you can see here, elastics to the band. so it will actually just move a little bit with your wrist. And comparing it here to the UltraFit, which I have also been wearing for the pretty much same amount of time. So let's just compare, and to the same amount of exercises or type of exercises as well. So mainly just running at least 30 minutes a day. I do run an hour to 2 hours every other day, so maybe even closer to 1 hour every day I've been running, if you kind of just split it out throughout the every day. But anyways, have a look here at the original versus the non-original one. Actually, there seems to be a little more wear here on the original one, but I'm not really sure that's an issue at all. And this is the part that's actually towards my wrist, so it doesn't really get out into the element. So yeah, shouldn't really cause any issue or any concerns at all. Both of the watch band here, I've had no issues with the Velcro coming off. As you can see, all of them is still on there. No problem on the non-genuine one, and the genuine one actually seems to be fused together a little bit better, like I talked about. So it's a little more recessed into the watch band. But you can see both of the watch bands pretty much have the markings in the same places. This is of course where you tighten down the watch, or the watch band to the watch. So you have it like this around the little watch split. So they will kind of get markings, of course, when you wear the watch. So you kind of get used to where you have to tighten it as well. And you kind of had a little spot there where there's some dust or gunk accumulating. So yeah, I definitely have no problem recommending this non-genuine one. I would definitely go and get one of these before I end up spending a lot of money on these Garmin ones. Even though the Garmin one is definitely a high quality sports band, don't really feel like the price is justified, because yeah, it is very expensive, and you cannot get the Garmin one in 22mm either. So you can get the non-genuine one in that sizing for smaller Phoenix watches and other Garmin watches, and of course various other watches that actually uses that sizing. So yeah, no issues at all. Very comfortable watch band. Only real concern I have really is my wrist is a medium-sized wrist. So if you have a smaller wrist than that, you could end up actually having to tighten one end over the other, because when I wear it pretty close to like here. And like I said, I have a medium-sized wrist. Not really big, but on the bigger sized wrist. And if you have a smaller wrist, you will probably have to like tighten one of the ends over the other end. Not really sure that will cause any issues at all, but other than it would be a little bit annoying, and of course be a little bit fatter here on that part. So that's really the only downside I have with this watch band. Smaller wrists, definitely will have to like tighten it on one end in top of the other end, because yeah, this is a relatively long watch band, and it needs to be relatively long because you need to get your hand in between the watch band here. And of course, if you have one end in each side of the watch here, the only real spot you have, or only real place you have to put in your wrist, is between here. So you don't really have that much amount of space actually getting the watch band on your hand. I actually find that the non-genuine one gives a little more room to get my hand in and get the watch onto my wrist, versus the original one from Garmin. It is actually a little bit shorter, so you have a little less room when you actually have the watch band open and you want to squeeze it onto your wrist. So that's also one thing to be concerned about, or to think about. But definitely get the non-genuine one. You could even like cut one of the Velcro tabs off here, and I think it will still be pretty good with 3 Velcro tabs. If it's a little too long, and you don't really break the bank doing so, because yeah, it is very inexpensive. Like I said, you can get this for only $5 on AliExpress, and of course I will share some affiliated link down in the description below, both for the genuine one and the non-genuine one. Like I said, you can get the non-genuine one in black as well, which also looks kind of nice. But after wearing this band here for a month, I think it's time to try something new. So this is the Yoland, I believe it's called, but this off Amazon. Cost quite a bit more than the one from AliExpress, but this one only has one tighten point here. You have to open and close, and the other end is just squeezing between the watch frame and the watch in reverse. I have made a video about all of these watch bands separately, so you can of course go and check those out. And if I remember it, of course I will link them down in the description below if you want to check the Yoland here out. And of course the non-genuine one versus the genuine one. I have made several videos comparing the ones individually, or testing the ones individually, and also comparing them between each other. So this is one I definitely like the most. I've been using the 22mm with my Venue 2 smartwatch, I've not yet put any use to the 26mm. And as of now, you can get the 26mm in both black and green off Amazon. And yeah, this is definitely my preferred kind of watch band. You can see it here on my Venue 2 smartwatch. One end, you loop in the other way around. So the Velcro is on the inside towards your wrist. So you only really have one point here you have to tighten, and you have ample amount of room, and getting the watch on your wrist is much easier because you only really have the one end here you need to make sure is tight to your wrist. And it is relatively large, so it definitely will accommodate for bigger wrist sizes as well. And if you have a smaller wrist, you can just squeeze or pull the inner band here little longer inside your wrist, and then the outer band of course will be a little bit shorter, so it will also accommodate for smaller wrist sizes. Definitely is my preferred one, but you also pay a little bit extra for this one here. Still is around a third of the cost, or even less than a third of the cost of the original UltraFit band, so definitely better value than the original one from Garmin. But in terms of ease of use and comfortability, I think this is actually a little easier to get on and off my wrist. So I will wear this watch band maybe around a month or so, and I will get back and see how well the 26mm have actually held up. But the cheap $5 one here from AliExpress definitely gets a thumbs up for me. The best sports band value out of all of the sports bands that I have seen on the market. And after testing them, I can also testament to the quality. Definitely is a high quality sports band, and you get a little bit more than actually what you pay for. So just get a bunch of these, switch them out whenever they are getting dull or broken and so on, and you will not really break the bank, and it should be lasting quite a long time. Or maybe every time you are charging your watch, just take it off and wash it with some soap and some water and just leave it to dry. It dries very easily, or fast rather, and it is very comfortable to have on your wrist as well. So highly recommend it. Link of course down in the description below, and like I said, I have videos about all of the other sports band for the Phoenix watches, and of course works for other watches as well. So if I remember, I will share those links down below as well. But that's pretty much it for this video. I hope to see you again in a future one. Until then, take care.